What is the worst Sonic game? Well, this is an interesting question with multiple answers. Some of you might say the Sonic 4 games. Others might say it's the Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 game. A few other people might say it's the other Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 game. There might be a few people who will say it's Sonic Labyrinth. And then there will be 3 people who will say that it's that Sonic Jam port for the game.com. It's true that some of these are in the bottom barrel section of Sonic games, but they are not the worst. Why, you might ask? Because today I found the worst Sonic game ever made. Way worse than all of these games combined. Now, one interesting thing about this game is that it came on the Nintendo Game Boy. No, not the Game Boy Advance, but the OG Game Boy. But then you might be saying,
oh, what the crap are you talking about, Fansonic? There is no Sonic game on the original Game Boy.
Well, you're right. Partially. Because if you remember, we live in a world where cheap knockoffs exist. Either you love them or hate them, you just can't escape them. Which is exactly what we'll be covering today. A rather mysterious game, yet so infuriating that it can cause physical pain to anybody who dares to play it. I'm talking about Sonic 3D Blast 5, released in 1997 by Maconsoft. Now let's put the box art away and let's discuss about Maconsoft. Now, info on this company is almost non-existent, but I heard some people calling it the video game developer from hell, because the games this group made were so bad that they ruined lives. People who played their games were never the same. There were also unfortunate people that didn't make out alive. Many people consider the games to be literal torture devices, especially this one. I knew these were just people over-exaggerating. I mean, it's just a game. It can't be that bad. Right? So I decided to ignore the warnings and to play the game. Little did I know what was I getting myself into. After obtaining this cursed game, I had to finally play it. So I opened up RetroArch, loaded the Game Boy core, and this happened. What in the name of Masaru Nakamura was that? What kind of music even was that? It sounds more like a PC speaker from an 80s DOS game than a Game Boy. We also got a slideshow of pictures from the Saturn opening of Sonic 3D Blast along with that music, which is the Sonic and Knuckles title screen music being played on a broken fire alarm. I finally got to the title screen, which, just like the intro, it's the title screen from the Saturn version, along with the 5. And I guess it's time to question this. Why is the game called Sonic 3D Blast 5? Where are the other Sonic 3D Blast games? Why did they jump to 5? Couldn't they call it Sonic 3D Blast 2? It just makes no sense. After pressing the start button, we get to a low quality image, which is the map of the stages from the original Sonic 3D Blast. And you guessed it, it's from the Saturn version. So weird that everything is from the Saturn version. After that screen, we get another screen showing a start button. And then another one showing the level style card. And then we get into the gameplay. Oh my god. This is terrible. If you thought the GBA port of Sonic 1 was crap, then you haven't seen Sonic 3D Blast 5. This is so bad, it's undescribable. This game has the issues Sonic 1 on the GBA has, but multiplied 3 times. The controls in this game are so terrible that doing the simplest tasks like jumping from platform to platform, collecting rings, defeating enemies becomes 5 times harder. The engine is so busted that even when you stop holding the right or left buttons, it takes a full second for Sonic to stop. How can you f up this badly a platformer? The thing you need to get right is the controls. If you mess up the main feature of a game like this, your game will be hated worldwide and nobody will play it. Or they will play it for like 2 minutes before smashing the game into pieces. Let's move on from the controls and let's review the visuals. They are alright. Sonic here is taken from the Game Gear game Sonic and Tails 2 or Sonic Triple Trouble. But the problem is that the sprites in this game are gigantic, making the game feel more closed in, but also makes the stages feel a bit bigger than they actually are. And the ridiculous controls will add to this. What may look like a really short stage can become Sonic 3's Carnival Night Act 2. Now let's talk about how bad the game's collision and hitboxes can be. You can sometimes collect rings, but you can also phase through them. If you want to defeat an enemy, you have to land on the top of it. If you try to kill it from the bottom or from any other directions, you will get hurt. Speaking of getting hurt, in Sonic games you normally get bounced back but also lose your rings. Here, there is no ring that comes out of you. They just sort of disappear without any way of recovering them. Kinda like how Sonic 1 on the Master System did it. Also, the maximum ring count is 99, meaning that you can't get extra lives in this game and no continues. So 5 lives and you gotta restart from the beginning. There are also no checkpoints, so if you die in the stage, you go back to the beginning of it. So if you get into a harder part of a stage and fail, you have to redo everything so you can get back to the point where you came from and you have another try. Or you can use save states and rewinding, which is what I use for this video. I mean, this game is already bad, so I wouldn't want to make it even worse for me by trying to play it fair and square. So I got to Green Hill Zone Act 2, or should I say Green Hick Zone, which wasn't even Green Hill, it's actually Flying Battery Zone. This zone has some things wrong. There are these parts where you have to jump from the last bit of edge, otherwise you will fall down. What the f was that? I fell through the platform? That is bull over there. I think you already know what the music is. But to kinda elaborate on this, most of these songs are really bastardized version of other classic songs from the Sonic games, mainly from Sonic 3. thing that makes this game impossible to play is the For some weird reason, these guys thought it would be so funny to add the most infuriating glitch in the entirety of Sonic 1. If you will get hurt by an enemy or fall off and land into spikes, you'll be knocked back without any chance of escaping and you will lose alive. This just makes playing the full game without any kind of save states be almost impossible, and you will see that it gets even worse. You also got a spin dash and a roll, but they are useless. If you run into an enemy while rolling, you will get hurt. How is that possible? Haven't you played the Sonic games enough to know that spin dashing into an enemy kills it? But at least there is a neat glitch that you can do with the spin dash. If you press quickly the jump button while falling off from the spin dash, you can do a double jump of sort which can save you from death. Level 3 is I guess supposed to be Spring Yard Zone, but also Carnival Night at daytime. I don't know, who gives a This level is home to floating blocks and moving platforms. A tricky jump here that didn't take much time for me to clear, but for some people it was a nightmare, and the wall clip here and it's done. Now level 4. First things first, this stage is in the desert, so it could be Sandopolis or Desert Palace, or Dust Hill if you want to go by Sonic 2 beta rules, but I don't think these guys know what Dust Hill is supposed to be. This is when the game becomes truly evil. In this stage you have these platforms which fall if you stay too much time on them, and this game has severe problems with loading objects. Why am I saying this? Because of this part over here. This part of the stage is impossible to beat. Your jump is too weak to reach that platform. I think there was supposed to be an enemy to bounce off and reach the platform, but there is none of that. Actually, there was one, but bouncing from it wasn't enough to reach the platform. Not even the spin dash trick works here. It's just way too far to reach. I tried again and again and again and again and again, but I would just fall down. I retried more than 100 times to get past this damn jump, but I couldn't do it. So you know what I did? I quit. I mean, I couldn't do anything besides jumping the pit, so I just gave up this game and the people who made it. Except it wasn't over. While making the script for this video, I retried that jump to see if there is more between me and that jump. And after 15 attempts, this happened. I finally passed that jump after more than 115 attempts. I finally did it. That time I felt so well inside me. Now the ending is guaranteed to be reached. There was one last obstacle left, and it was level 5. The last level in this entire pile of shit. Level 5 seems to be Marble Garden Zone. And guess who's back? There is this part which gave me a bit of a bad time because I thought this would be another part that will make the end unreachable. But it was the game having troubles loading stuff, and thankfully the platform that was supposed to be there actually spawned once I backtracked and went back to that part again, and I managed to pass it. And also these platforms appear again, but thankfully they didn't cause me as much pain as they did before. After some dumb mistakes and slip-ups created by the engine, and whatever this is, I passed a row of double spikes and touched the last spinning goal pole. Did you really expect anything more? Also, the company credits themselves as Young for some weird reason. But what was important was that I finally finished Sonic 3D Blast 5. Alright, now it's time for the final score. Gameplay, story, none.
No!
Level design, visuals, they can be improved. And final rating, disastrous. I can't believe a game this bad would ever exist. And it's even a Sonic one. Like, this game is basically Pain and Agony, the platformer. That's how bad it was. The music, the awful controls, everything just made it a really terrible experience. But I want to ask you one last thing before I end this video. Have you ever wanted this game, but in color? After the catastrophic release of Sonic 3D Blast 5, Soft made a sequel. Let me repeat that. They made a sequel to Sonic 3D Blast 5 called Sonic Adventure 7, which is weird because they deemed this game after Sonic Adventure instead of Sonic 3D Blast 5 for some reason. But some releases of 3D Blast 5 do call the game Sonic Adventure 5, and it's on the good old classic Nintendo game. Surprisingly, the sequel is known universally more than the original game. But you know what's so bad about this sequel? They literally repackaged Sonic 3D Blast 5, but they changed the order of the levels and modified the title screen. Oh, and they added colors, which look a lot like Rainbow Vomit. That's it. That's all they done. It's like if Sonic 1 would be released, and when Sonic 2 would arrive, it would be the same game, but the order of the levels would be changed. And this is not over, because they made another sequel called Sonic Adventure 8, or simply Sonic 8, which is the same game, but Sonic is red, and the order of the levels got changed again. Oh, why are they doing this? They need to stop. Reselling the same bad game over and over is not going to make it better. But you know what's so weird about these games? There's no game with number 6. They jump from 5 to 7 for no reason. But I think I found the game in between 5 and 7. While looking through eBay to see if someone is selling one of these bootleg games, I stumbled upon this listing featuring a game called Sonic Shuffle 6. The thing is, I looked on the internet for this game and there doesn't seem to be anybody that knows about this. So if you are somebody in the bootlegging community or are interested in stuff like this, or you own a Game Boy Color, I'll leave you the listings link in the description so you can look in detail over this. And if you do own a Game Boy Color and you purchase this game, please record gameplay of the game and post it online so you can see what the hell is this mysterious game. But don't expect anything new from what we saw in this video. But it would be interesting to have another version of a crappy game. Anyways guys, I will see you in another video. Now I have to recover my sanity that this game drained from me. Goodbye.